Good morning. Welcome, everybody. We're excited to see you here. Some of you might already know this, but we have a writing group here at the Senior Center. It's called the Senior Scribblers, led by this fine gentleman right next to me, Steve Sherlock. And we're proud to announce that they have published their first book. You guys should all be holding it right here. I know. A round of applause. A compilation, some very, very hard work. The writers group does meet weekly Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. I believe it's open for anybody to join.
Anybody who wants to write, does write, wants some feedback, you're welcome to join. We meet weekly, like you just said. Once a month, if you choose. You can also join us at the studio. We do a recording, which is then on the radio and available for podcast. So we try to have some fun, sharing what we read, what we write, get some feedback. We also, on a regular basis, enable Zoom participation. So unfortunately, a couple of our regular Zoomers are not able to join us today. But we normally would have kind of the big screen, if you've seen it somewhere, with a Zoom session, and the people from Minnesota and Wisconsin join with us here in Franklin.
And that started during COVID, right?
Started during COVID, and we just kept it going. The person from Minnesota found us via the podcast. Amazon Prime has some free podcasts. She was searching for senior writers. That popped up. She listened and fell in love with our accents. So we appreciate her joining because she tells wonderful stories. Unfortunately, Zenobia can't be with us today, but we certainly think of her on a regular basis. Her story is in the book, so you'll be able to read it.
So today we're going to have some readings from the book from some of the authors that are here with us today. And I'm just going to start by the very first, page 1, dedicated to the power and pleasures of the pen. And I think that is a fantastic opening for this.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our first pair of readers, they responded to a challenge. So Faith and Bill.
Yay!
Thanks, Mom.
Boo!
Who let him in, huh? Once in a while when we can't think of anything to write, somebody will put out a challenge, and you don't have to take it if you don't want to. But I put out a challenge to Bill. Page 21. By the way, I have a walking group for this senior center on Wednesday mornings at 9. And we leave from the senior center, and we only walk half an hour one way, turn around, and come back. And it's in Franklin. In this particular walk, it was Beaver Pond. After a group walk, I challenged Bill to respond to my poem on page 22. A quick jump Bill does make, seeing a striking pose by a snake. Pain and fright upon his face, away from that place he did race. Fumbling for my phone, take a picture, but the serpent's gone in a flicker. It all happened so quickly, as things do when Billy's with me. I wasn't scared, yet he squirmed. I was just surprised, Bill affirmed. He was a black, huge, thick circle, and Bill's hand mimicked a huge pickle. This happened as I saw it. Bill's version may differ. I challenge him to respond in rhyme. A new poem would suit me just fine.
And my answer to her is
on page 23.
23, yeah, a little bit longer. A walk with faith in my heart. To Beaver Pond we did stroll, I have not been there since long time ago. Chilston Beach, a beautiful place. In my mind, I travel through time and space to a time long ago when I was just a lad, to this place, to this same place with brother and sister. What a time we had. Today I walk with faith, in photos I take. Lots of trees by the pond grow wild. In the past few years, in the past, very few when I was a child. We walked to a clearing. Well, I'll do this again. We walked to a clearing. A boat ramp looks fine. I walked to the edge. Should I step one more time? As I get closer to the water, one more step I may go. A big black, thick snake pops out of a hole. With a startled surprise, right back I did jump. I did it so fast I heard a loud thump. In the blink of an eye, the snake popped back into its hole. And that is when, real fast I did stroll. Fate said with concern I would have jumped just the same. With a twinkle in her eye, good friends we remain.
And next up, we have Mr. Al Larkin with some memories of his days in Boston.
Not gonna stay there.
No, that's okay. You get the spotlight.
It's on page 36. I have this for my eyesight. And we do this because this too is vanity, but we do it because we're having fun. So this is a memoir of about 80 years ago. That's how long I'm as old as dirt. But anyway, it's called East Cottage in Dudley. Coming out of the Great Depression, it was the spring of 1942, and we were in the Second World War. East Cottage was a divider between two Boston suburbs of Roxbury and Dorchester. A good place to grow up with lots of young families for friends and dozens of nodding acquaintances. Easy access for my family of 5 brothers and 2 sisters, as we were only a block away. We call that intersection the Corner. The more populated of the corners, evenings and weekends, had a place we call the Spa, where you could get fountain drinks and other goodies along with a chance to stand on the corner, people watching. Some of the crowd had to move across to Pete's drugstore when it got too full, where there was also a stand-up fountain to get a milkshake, or a frap, as we called it, and meet and greet others inside and out. Diagonally across from Pete's, there was a joint of some repute called Joe Meldon's Bar, which had some competition, as there were 2 other drinking establishments within shouting distance. The fourth corner had Morgan's Creamery, that sold coffees, teas, butter, and bacon, along with the greatest ice cream ever. Stepping through the door filled up your senses with marvelous odors that you could almost taste. My favorite ice cream was maple walnut. Trackless trolleys would go on in opposite directions, stopping at the other 2 corners, with a frequency that had a flow of people in continuous flux throughout the day. Within 2 blocks were fish and meat markets, early versions of A&P and First National stores, eateries of fish and chips, pizza that cost 50 cents, not for a slice, the whole pie. Kids could watch donuts being made by a machine in the window as they flipped and flopped by the window of one of the bakeries. There was even a storefront church beside the barber shop, run by the Good Samaritans. Ethnicity of our neighborhood was made up of mostly Irish, Italian, and German families. Ironically, we were at war with Germany and Italy and Japan in World War II, but patriotism was at an all-time high. There was some dread, but we had right on our side. Combined with great leaders and patriotic songs, we got through it. Everyone is involved in the war effort, either buying war bonds, saving metal, etc., or by volunteering to fight. Families with a son serving in World War I hung a small banner in the window with a blue star on it. And if that son were killed, it was changed to gold. Lots of young men in uniform and shiny boots were seen all around the corner in those days, as young men made ready to defend their country against tyranny and to preserve freedom. With no such thing as allowances, my brother John and I were shoeshine boys with boxes we made out of wood that we could find and a capital investment each of about $2 for the shine equipment. So it was up to the corner and the call, "Shine, sir?" We started out at 9 and 10 years old and had been doing it for about a year, charging the going rate of 5 cents a shine. It was like that for a long time, and now all those big boots needed lots of polish, and so the consensus was the price needed to go to 10 cents. Most of the customers thought it was okay, and we made sure they got a great shine with spit polish and brush and that final touch with the snap of the rag. We could jump on the trolley with our shine box as the conductor would wave us on for a free ride to go to Dudley Station or other locations for more shine business. The Daily Record newspaper had 6 editions a day, so late in the afternoon, when people would check their race results and numbers they played, we used the same routine on the trolley, and with 25 newspapers costing us 3 cents each, we could sell for 5 cents and maybe the occasional tip. A little money for Ma, who sure could use it, and a little in our pocket to spend. There were variety stores every block or so, all of which sold penny candy and soda, among with other delights of your fancy. And then a block and a half away, there was a little cinema like no other, called the Ideal Theater. We call it the Shack. It cost about all of 12 cents for admission, and they changed movies 3 times a week, with B&C films weekdays and the better films on the weekend. A show would last 3 hours with 2 feature films, comics, serials, and the Pathé News. If the Three Stooges were shown, we were sure to mimic their antics when we come out and all the way home. There were lots of street and backyard games that young people made up. We didn't have much, but a lot of sharing went on. When someone had something like that you liked, that you hoped they would share, and you might say, "Dibs," "Checks," or if it was an apple, Corsies. Like I said, we didn't have much. If someone else's echo echoes your call, your response was, I had it. With no dimes for the trolley, young people walked everywhere, either to school, sports, or church, with never a bit of trouble unless you were looking for it. When someone would ask you where you're from in the city, you might say the name of your parish. It was before TV, and church was not all spiritual, but a social experience as well. Our parish had many services throughout the week, and our folks expected us to go, and so we went. Besides, there would be girls. Just growing up there was an education in itself. Street smart, Boston strong. That's a photo I picked up, kids with their shine boxes.
Thank you. Well, I grew up in that area, and I remember all those things.
Okay, nostalgic.
Memories. It's what we share. And we're not in a courtroom, but we like to tease. Here comes the judge. Next up will be Alice Judge. Yes.
Doesn't matter where I sit. Okay. It's so great to see everybody here. I'm going to read something this morning that was inadvertently not in the book. And so I hope you'll bear with me. I think a lot of people will understand what the title of which is Dream at Any Age. It was the first performance of the Nutcracker that season for my daughter's ballet company, after which there was a catered gala with family, friends, and patrons of the arts, enjoying a pay-as-you-go bar, everyone in their fancy clothes, with Diet Coke in hand. I was flitting from each small group like a bee pollinating spring flowers. I did like parties. The show had been wonderful. The young dancers were beautiful in their colorful gowns, and everyone appeared to be having a good time. While flitting, I came across an acquaintance I knew. She and I had been in several volunteer organizations through the years, but she wasn't anyone I would call to go out for coffee, if you know what I mean. I was very excited about my life at that time, and the woman just happened to ask me the right question. So what's new? She asked. I had just decided to be a writer. Toward that goal, I was like a tornado, building up steam with each writer's workshop and classes, becoming stronger and stronger, my intent to reach the mainland in a crescendo. Looking back at that night, I must have been insufferable, so in love I was with being a writer. When the woman had a chance to speak, she said, "My, you have so many dreams for someone your age." I didn't get the catty remark. I didn't blink. "Yeah," I said, enthusiastically going on about how I was going to write a novel. I had found my destiny. The woman, I think, was happy to get away from me. And the next day, thinking about our conversation, I realized what she had said. I should tell you at this juncture that I am very sensitive and people hurt my feelings easily. But when I realized what she said, I only felt sorry for her. Sorry that she didn't have dreams like I did. And I asked the universe to give her some. I never saw the woman again until years later when I saw her obit in the newspaper. She was younger than I, and thoughts of that time so long ago came back to me. I prayed then that she indeed had found her dream. And in line with that, will you just give me some? I would like to. I would like to read this: ABCs of finding your dreams. A. Always activate. B. Be courageous. C. Do your dream. Create your dream. D. Do you dream? Develop the dream. Okay. F. Fear not. G. Goals. H. Have a plan. Follow it. I. Ignite your creativity. J. Just do it. K. Know yourself. L. Love your dream. M. Make it happen. N. Nothing is impossible. O. Opportunities are everywhere. P. Persistence. Q. Quit procrastinating. R. Realize your potential. S. Satisfy that hunger in your soul. T. Take time to meditate. U. Understand your heart. V is for vision. W. Work through your ideas. X. Exert yourself. Y. You can have your dream. Z. Zest will make it happen. Thank you. I love that.
My special writer's hat. Of course, it's also raining today, so dual purpose. Joe Ewald. Yes, you're up, sir.
Good morning, everybody. My story is on page 47. So I'll give you time to get there. The person in the back row. Those are the most important people. Not to mention the people in the front. We don't want to disregard them either. Okay. All right, the name of my story is Serving My Country. Now, when I was in my last year of high school, I wasn't sure what I was going to do after I graduated. My grades weren't good enough to go to college, so that option was out the door. So when I went to the local bookstore, in passing, I noticed a sign at a Navy recruiting center. It was enticing you to join, so I went inside to check it out. I talked to the recruiter, and between his convincing me with his pitch and me falling in love with the idea, I joined. And at the time, I was only 17. Can't join now until you're 18. But because it was at the end of the Vietnam War, I received a waiver at 17 to join because they needed every man they could get. Everybody was becoming disenchanted with this supposedly police action. The day after graduation from high school, I found myself in Great Lakes, Illinois. I caught a flight with two other guys that were going to boot camp. Believe it or not, they got me high in the bathroom with smoking a joint. So when the bus picked me up at boot camp, I was high as a kite. That's how I started boot camp and basic training. When the buzz started to come down, reality set in. I was missing my mother big time, and I thought I had made a horrible mistake. I was thinking of ways to get out of basic training, like starting a fight or faking an illness. But I decided not to do those things as I convinced myself to give it a try. To my surprise, things got better as I went along. We were allowed to write letters home and receive them back. This is one of the things that got me through to graduation. One of the happiest moments I have ever experienced in this life was flying back home on American Airlines United Jet. I had received a 2-week leave before I had to go to dental technician school in San Diego. After my leave, I flew again, of course, on a plane to start my training. School was pretty tough, and I was lucky to get a C. Because my grades were average, after I graduated, they assigned me to the Marine Corps for 4 weeks. It was like a 4-week boot camp with the so-called grunts. It was definitely a lot tougher than Navy boot camp, but somehow I made it through. Most of the training was run, and run. Besides being tall and skinny, I was able to do that part pretty good. I ran 3 miles in 20 minutes when all you had to do was 28 minutes. The obese men had a tough time and were picked on by the drill instructor. I felt sorry for them because they were crying. But that is par for course for boot camp. I had found the way to get through boot camp due to my ability to run. After that, I got another 2 weeks leave, and it just happened to be Christmas. Needless to say, it made my heart feel good just to be with my family. After the holidays were over, my duty assignment was to fly to Okinawa, Japan, to start my next journey with the United States Marine Corps as a combination dental tech and field corpsman. A doc was the nickname the grunts gave me. Doc Joe. I was at Camp Hansen for 13 months. The only reason I completed that duty at Camp Hansen was the guys I served with. They were great, and I made a lot of friends. Afterward, I flew home on another leave for a month and an assignment to serve the rest of my active time obligation to the Navy at Oceanside, California. I was at Camp Pendleton for 2 years. San Diego is great. They have one of the best zoos in the world, of course. I'm sure everybody has heard of it. And also, they have a version of the Boston Common called Balboa Park. In many ways, my fellow shipmates were awesome all the way through the rest of my active service time. My inactive service was to serve 6 years reserve at the old Weymouth Navy Air Station, which by the way isn't there anymore. So it was there a long time ago. One of the most flattering moments in my life was to receive a wedding invitation from my best friend in San Diego after I had got out of the service. In hindsight, I would highly recommend to young people that have a hard time deciding what to do after high school is to join the service. It gets you out of your parents' house. It teaches you discipline and organization. Plus, you make friends to have for the rest of your life. Go Navy. Go America.
Dr. Joe.
Yep.
We're writers.
Yep. Yes. They call him Dr. Joe.
Next up, you've probably heard his voice in a number of other places. He was the one who actually invited me into the group once upon a time, and I've been facilitating it since. While there's no credits in the book, there really should be some credits. While I did kind of the proofing and editing, he did the final artwork, layout, and the design. And then we also have give credit to Allegra Printing for the capability for them to create this book that you see. It is such a quality book. Without further introduction, Pete Fasciano.
I'm going to use the other mic just to drive the camera folks crazy, because it's what I do. Before I get started, I want to put in a shameless plug for the group. It's a great opportunity to find something to do that you can do with us, with people, collaborate on projects, and also do at your whim at home very easily. And it's a great way to exercise those mental faculties, bring back the imagination that you had when you were 5 years old. So do consider joining the group. Writing and thinking. Sometimes I think about writing, sometimes I write about thinking. Such is the nature of the muse. By the way, we're on page 5 in our hymnals. Sometimes both are happening, like right now. It's a comforting, easy, existential duality, a flow connecting thought, pen, and page. My happy place. For a writer, it may be no more than pencil and paper. When writing, we explore the weave and weft of life. We can create whole new worlds, sua sponte, of our own volition. Ab initio, from the whole cloth of unbounded imagination. Randomly, the muse meanders as it may, absent pretense or plan, seeking some glimmers of meaning and insight while puttering in the kitchen of the mind. Statements and stories flow seemingly up from nothing. Here's a random notion. I find it demonstrably ironic that the word irony itself is not all that well and clearly defined. And I cannot fathom a wordless world made only of pathos lacking logos. Absent an inner monologue, what can we know of an existence where feelings have nowhere to go? Words and their sentences are the scaffolding of reason, logic, abstraction, where and how ideas are given their shape, substance, heft, durability, and most importantly, portability. Words can be played to impress as a self-aggrandizing attempt at weighty, polysyllabic, obfuscatorially hypercomplexificated lexicographical pyrotechnics. Or fulgent poetry, elegant in stark simplicity. I once formed a thought from thin air. My words helped me make it, I swear. My brain thunk it all, and with ink on a ball, I'd done writ it for others to share. Need a rim shot over here, ba-dum-bum. Okay. I might mentally meander from great gravitas to wanton whimsy. It's a mood thing. Either way, I own my words. I could state the obvious. Yeah, what he said. Or loft the challenge of cognitive dissonance. Wait, what? Words can be bendy things, flexible in their meaning. However, absent pretext and strengthened by context, they can frame facts for exactly what they are, facts, as rigid things. Words have power. Even the simplest ones can be arranged to embody the most powerful concepts. Short words, woven well, can be long on logic and strong in style. Words can be weaponized if the pen is indeed mightier than the sword, who may be licensed to carry. Is it a creative license? And what of the thought police? They fear the writer in any of us. They can't deny all of us. Conversely, like spun sugar, spun words can be sweet, curative, On those odd days when it seems like your silver lining has a cloud, when it feels like someone turned up the gravity a little too high, visit your muse. It's your best friend. Together, spin your words sweetly, warmly, wisely. In so doing, through writing, you get to explore an unbounded world of what if. And along the way, in the fullness of time, you learn a lot. You discover insights about life, its wonders, perhaps even about yourself. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. René Descartes. Scribito ergo sum in aeternum. I write, therefore I am, forever. Thank you.
For those in the hymnal, you can turn to page 8 and 9. This will be my time. You'll recognize on the one page, a dark and stormy night. Are they good or bad? Many pieces of literature start this way. What could the Scribblers do? Well, when I got this challenge, I decided to do 3 things. 1, to start with it. 1, to put it in the middle, and 1 to end with it. So I'll read those today. On page 9, the overall title I call Fret Factors. You may recognize the term. Certainly when people get anxious, their fret factor climbs high. So it's one of the things we talk about, my wife having a fret factor. Or variations on a theme of a dark and stormy night. So, part 1. She still worries when I go for my walk at 9:30 p.m. Even if just in our neighborhood where there is little traffic, most folks are usually home by that time. There is little movement on the road. Even the wildlife is nesting, resting. Plenty of road to share in this uncertainty, maybe coming out of the pandemic, maybe not. I'm wondering what the new normal might be. Striding along, streetlights start the shadow races. The blackest black bleeds to gray as the light shifts from back to front. As the light shifts, the shadows dim, decides to go the other way, leaving you alone for a time. Navigating the curve, it is dark, hard to see. Harder still, we're in this midpoint between poles. The streetlight works, sorta. It slowly comes on, building brightness, widening its circle of light. It reaches as far as it can, stays only for a bit, abracadabra, the light, the cone of light disappears. And then I'm back to navigating the curve of the road, walking on a dark and stormy night. Part 2. Upon entry, I was greeted with a problem to solve immediately. Whether it was the toilet clogged or the TV remote not working, or someone had called and wanted something that needed to be done right now, whatever it was always more important than, welcome home. How was your day? So I learned how to dive right into whatever was a dark and stormy night. We left behind whatever else was in the current thought stream, forgot about the radio news, the song's last notes, the podcast's voice of reason, or what had happened at work that day. There was barely time to put down my bag or take off my coat before jumping into the problem of the night to try and make sense of the issue at hand. Then to step back, gather the tools required. Maybe you needed the plunger or new batteries or make the phone call. Sometimes it would be quick work to bring light and dispel the darkness. A plunge or two to clear away the clog. New batteries returned functionality. The status lights came on. The channel or the volume would change properly. Sometimes it took a little longer to make sense of the stormy issue. Then it was as we had never left the current. We weren't in a river of dreams. The islands in the stream just slipped by. Some when, somewhere, somehow those news bits, notes of the melody, voices of insight would come forward to play. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but someday. Part 3. It was a dark and stormy night. The creek flowed by steadily. At first it seemed only the creek noise. Then a flash lit the sky, thunderclaps rolling along the creek. The rains followed, gentle rain at first, then steady buckets. A soaking rain. It was a good rain. It was needed. The trees and grasses welcomed it. Another lightning flash broke the dark. What were they thinking of doing it all at once? The storm wouldn't last. The clouds and rain would roll away. The thunder would become a distant echo. The rains, too, would pass. In a few hours, daylight would creep over the ridge, chasing the night away. It was time to write. Lasso, harness those images, thoughts, all too briefly illuminated before they flowed away. Rolling over bedside, opening the pad, scribbling the translations as they appeared, images to words. Would others follow along? There is the challenge. I hope to raise enough interest, use enough of their words to create the dark and stormy night for them. It only thunders when it rains. Why is that? It was hard enough creating the space to welcome the moment, to go with the flow of images, transferring them to words, wrestling the meaning of being. Now, soaking wet. Yes, you only get wet once. He was at one with the world. The creek was flowing, bubbling, eddying around smooth rocks, ever flowing. Taking a deep breath, he realized, we can do this. Thank you. And with that, since we had a challenge, I think we've got another pair of challenges. So you did the twas tis rather, and you have a twas tis. So we'll have Al and Faith come back to do twas tis.
Very inspirational being around people like Pete and Steve, and every now and then we get challenges. Somebody comes up with an expression, and then it sounds interesting, and then your mind starts turning over what you can do with it. And anyway, it's it's whatever you can make of it, and you may have some idea what you're trying to convey, and you hope people likes it, and you like to share it, and they get out of it whatever they get. But it's a story sometimes, and everybody is a story. They have a story. We all have a story, and we love to share it. Does us good.
Go for it.
Okay. 'Twas, 'tis. It's all in the fizz. 'Twas an embroidery, a gift from above. 'Tis a story of a person well loved. 'Twas sound at first, heard by little ears.
Page
'Tis-
26.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'm going to start again.
Yeah.
Just for people that didn't have it open. Thank you. 'Twas, 'tis. It's all in the fizz. 'Twas an embroidery, a gift from above. 'Tis a story of a person well loved. 'Twas sound at first, heard by little ears, 'tis words now known over the years. 'Twas learning of life as one grows old, 'tis now understood without being told. 'Twas summon of story, joy and laughter, 'tis the telling of it, the gift of the crafter. 'Twas grace for us, coming to the Scribblers, 'tis affection now, we're just like siblers. 'Twas good together our stories to share, 'tis now even better, we can talk on the air. 'Twas the Spirit that led you, 'tis the Alpha and Omega.
Page 27. The challenge was to write something with the contractions, tis, till, or whatever. 'Twas a time before Corona, when I started out with coffee and cremora. My lipstick and makeup was perfectly put on and met with friends in group liaisons. The times were carefree, fun and so merry. My cheeks were blush and my lips were cherry. 'Tis now, however, everything is different. No public places that I used to frequent. Why wear blush, mascara, and lipstick? With mask, we all look like we're sick. Nothing to do but eat all day, watch TV, and look for games to play. COVID weight has given me a little belly that shakes when I laugh like a bowl full of jelly. 'Twill this pandemic never end, tain't any fun with no friend. 'Twould be better to fraternize, 'twon't be so lonely by and by. Till then I'll sit and play solitaire, do my nails and wash my hair.
And Bill, you can come back. We got 2 more poems, I think, from Bill.
Okay, I actually have two poems in the book and a couple other ones I want to throw in. Okay. Now the first one is my Beatle poem on page 32. It has song titles in it. Please be my day tripper. We'll have a ticket to ride because you are my pride. I'll have no more lonely nights when I'm with you. Please love me do. I want to say, I want you to be my woman. If we have troubles, we can work it out. So come on, let's twist and shout. I'll be here, there, and everywhere, looking for you. I want you to grow old with me, my honey-do. Never want to hear you say, forget about yesterday. It's just like starting over. We'll be watching the wheels go round because your sweet love I have found. Please don't pass me by and don't say good night. So please please me because I don't want to spoil the party. We will have fun 8 days a week. With you I feel fine, and what goes on, our love will never be gone. It's something in the way you move. Let's get in the groove. So let's come together. We'll sing All You Need Is Love. You are my heaven above. Your love is my goal as we walk down the long and winding road. I've written several different ones about different groups, but this next one is on page 33. Something about nothing. Lost for words, what can I say? The time flies past with each day. Should I do this or should I do that? Before I know it, the time is past. Is this good or is it bad? It makes me feel so sad. Should I touch or should I not? Not sure of what I got. Is this pretty or is it not? Is it right? Is this pretty or is it not right? It is loose. It feels a little tight. Should I put it on or take it off? Who cares of what it costs? Should I wear colors or just go black? Not sure of where it's at. This poem, I'll call it nothing. I'll try to pick it up without touching. Is it in the air or is it not? It's nothing, that's what I got. This is the end of something about nothing. I picked it up and I did it without touching. Not sure of what I should do again. Not sure if I should do it again. So goodbye, and I'll say amen. Okay, I got a couple other ones not in the book I want to read. One's a short one. This is called Words Hurt. Sometimes words hurt, sometimes they sting, but oh my God, the hate they bring. A sarcastic word, it gets me going. I try to calm myself so it's not showing. Though sometimes it hurts, I let it pass, but sometimes I want them to kiss my ass. But I digress. I'll show you the love. In God we love from heaven above. The memory lives on, but I think good thoughts. But sometimes I'd rather not. I'm known for doing romantic ones, and there's no romantic ones in the book, but I'm going to read one. I wrote this last week. This is actually to my girlfriend. This is called Whisper My Love. My beautiful lady, you brighten my day. I love you so much in every way. You bring the light of the morning sun, and I will be with you when the day is done. My feelings rise with the thought of you. Be my love, my honey-dew. I have my morning coffee as I write these words. It is only with you my love will be heard. I know I will love you till my dying day. I know it is you. I want. Let's see. I lost my words here. I know I will be with you until the day I die. I know it is with you. I want to by my side. I feel so happy. It is with you, my sweet. You make my life so complete. I am a hopeless romantic, a simple man. If you want me to, I'll do a handstand. Through summer, fall, and cold, cold winter, our love will grow and never splinter. As my morning begins, I write these words of love, for I have been blessed from heaven above. My words of love for you will never stop until we climb to that mountain top. For if we get there, I need you near. I will whisper my love into your ear. Okay.
We'll bring this session to a close. One of the writers, original Scribblers, unfortunately had passed last year, as I recall correctly, so we'll read one of her pieces. Her piece is in the book. So if you turn to the last page, 71. Lament by Sue Wade. There was once a chance I did not take to travel far and wide, to visit lands that call me still. As time goes by, I still dream of traveling one day to see the sights of lands afar, to see Paris in the spring, to see the pyramids before they turned to sand, to see Athens and its temples, to see Rome and the Colosseum, to see London, the Tower, Stonehenge, and most of all, to see the Highlands of Scotland. One day it may come to pass that I may travel there, alone or with a friend. In youth, the wish was there. However, I was always too busy, studying, working, raising my kids. Now I have the time. Or do I? So, in memoriam for Sue Wade. She was a devoted advocate for the senior Scribblers, and among the earliest participants in our group. She was involved in many aspects and activities of the Senior Center. She wrote from the heart. She remains in our spirit. Her wheelchair never slowed her spirit. So as we close, thank you. You've been a great audience. So as we close today, just a quick reminder, do consider joining the group. As you've heard a variety of the writings that we've read today, everyone has a story, and all you need to do is just start. Whether it's a challenge or just saying, well, what did you do today? What happened yesterday? It's as simple as that. Any stories, and you can work through to do a book. Maybe you've got the great American novel that somebody is going to want to buy. Maybe you've just got another romantic poem. Maybe you've got something else that's inside that somebody needs to hear. So certainly check at the front desk. They'll put you on the mailing list so you can get both the info as to when we're meeting, where we're meeting. And for those days when it's a dark and stormy afternoon with the weather's not so good, you can join via Zoom. You can be here as if you were physically in the room. So that's an advantage. We thank you all for participating today. Certainly the writers are here, and if you'd like to have them autograph their section, for a nominal fee, I think they would do that. Thank you all.
This program was made possible by your Franklin friends and neighbors, good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.